If you've spent about 5 minutes on social media today, you've probably been marketed 10 to 15 supplements, some that you might have heard of already and some that you have no idea what they are. And it's confusing because nowadays marketing is so good. Your favorite fitness influencer and people that you look up to for their health and how they look, they are the ones selling it to you. They have discount codes for these companies or they're sponsored by these companies and they get commission. It's why every supplement seems like the best thing in the world. So as a personal trainer that's been working with women for the last 7 years and currently have over 150 clients and have zero ties to any supplementations or any companies, I am going to go through every supplement that you've heard of and tell you whether you should take it or whether you shouldn't. And let me just get a few things straight. These companies pay thousands of pounds to influencers to promote their products. I know that because I've had the offers. To be completely transparent, I've been offered 10% of my following, which would be 60,000, so £6,000 to do 2 reels and 1 post for a supplement company. And I turned it down because I don't want my Instagram and my social media to be going that way. So when I say influencers promote things for money, people that have 700,000 followers, let's say, they are being paid probably £70,000 for what they're being put out. It's completely ridiculous, I know, but it's the truth. So firstly, my take on supplements is that you should be taking something that you are deficient in. But as a caveat of that, if you can become undeficient in that thing, you don't need to supplement it. So let's look at a few examples. Well, the best example of this would be vitamin D. I generally advise my clients to take it through the winter. In the UK winter, we have barely any sunlight, so it makes sense to take vitamin D because you can't just go and get sunlight. In the summer, you probably don't need to because you have natural sunlight daily. So at different times of the year, you would need to supplement that to bring your vitamin D up. And vitamin D is a really good supplement for energy, mood, managing stress. And then if we were to look at another supplement like whey protein, something that's 50-50. Some people say, yes, you should take it. Some people say, no, you shouldn't. I personally think that whey protein is a really good supplement to use to obviously hit your protein intake, which can be quite hard to do from your diet alone. For example, I put whey protein in my morning oats. I also then might have a protein bar or a protein shake mid-afternoon. It's something that's convenient and easy. But I always like to make sure that people are getting animal-based or plant-based sources of protein into their diet as well, because that shouldn't be something that you neglect and you just rely on the supplementation of protein. It's just a good addition and a supplementation on top of an already high protein diet. The next one that gets talked about probably quite a lot and something that you're umming and ahhing in between is creatine. Now, creatine is found in some foods, red meat being one example. That's why supplementing it in can be a good idea. Creatine is a really good supplement for power, recovery, and strength in training. And it also has quite a lot of cognitive benefits as well. So again, something that we're all deficient in and we don't get enough from our diet, so it makes sense to then supplement it in. The most studied and the cheapest one is something called creatine monohydrate. I would highly recommend you to take it, whether you train, whether you don't train, whether your goal is to build muscle or whether it's to lose fat. Another supplement I would generally advise clients to take, because it's very hard to get from just your diet alone, is omega-3 fish oils. When you look at the span of your week, you might have oily fish once. You might have salmon on a Thursday night. And again, something like omega-3 fish oils is a really good supplement for joints, bone health, and energy levels. To be honest, they're the 4 main ones that I would recommend. Vitamin D through the winter months, or anywhere that doesn't have enough sunlight. Whey protein to top your protein up, and it's a really good source of protein. Creatine monohydrate and omega-3 fish oils. They would sit on the side of things that I would recommend. But then there's also a side of things that I would not recommend. One of them is collagen. This is something that's marketed really well, especially recently, and it's become something that a lot of people are hyping over. It's mainly targeted at women for the growth of hair, skin, and nails. Collagen is basically a protein source, but the amino acid makeup and the profile of the quality of the protein is very poor. And if you are getting enough protein from your diet alone, and with whey protein as well, it's not necessary. And you're better off doing that because of the quality of the protein. It lacks a very essential amino acid called leucine. Leucine is probably one of the best amino acids for building muscle and preserving muscle. Plus, it's just very overpriced and it's very hyped up for something that's not going to give you many benefits. It's the same as BCAAs as well, branched chain amino acids. I also don't really like pre-workout as well as a supplement, but that's just my opinion. Slamming a ridiculous amount of caffeine in a very short space of time might be good for some people, but not for others. I would personally rather have a coffee or a 0-calorie energy drink. In total, the reason that I'm not really a big advocate of supplementations is because I think a lot of people that are looking at supplements are not nailing the basics first. For example, if I had someone that come to me wanting to lose weight, build muscle, and get a bit stronger, and I looked at their day-to-day habits and they weren't eating enough protein, they weren't sleeping well enough, they weren't drinking enough water, they weren't controlling their calorie intake, they weren't getting enough steps in, but then they said to me, what supplements should I be taking, I would just generally say that your priorities are in the wrong place right now, because you should not be supplementing anything unless you've got the basics in place. Once you're consistently doing that, and everything is in order and you've built a good structure and routine around those things, then you can think about adding supplements on top of that. It's not the other way around. You should not be taking creatine until you are drinking 2 liters of water and eating sufficient protein. You should not even be thinking about omega-3 fish oils until you've got a good quality diet in place and you're actually eating some veggies and some fiber. Again, coming back to something like pre-workout, you should not be slamming pre-workout if you cannot get 7 or 8 hours of sleep a night. You're up doom scrolling till midnight, you get 4 or 5 hours sleep, and then you're having to take pre-workout. It's just a never-ending cycle. And if you don't solve the root cause of why you need those things, it will forever be a problem. That's why I think when you're starting your weight loss journey or your fitness journey in general, going to the gym, you should not be on a website looking at what supplements should I get. You should not be excited about getting a supplement bundle. You should be focusing on, have I got the basics in place? Is my nutrition aligned to my goals with my calorie intake, my protein intake, how much fiber I'm having? Am I sleeping enough? Am I hydrating myself? What is my activity levels like? Do I have a decent training program in place? When you've nailed those things and you're in a good routine with those things, then I would say, okay, what supplements could you add that's gonna amplify what you're already doing? Then it would come back to the things that I went through before. Whatever you're deficient in, I would probably supplement that. But you don't need things like ashwagandha or tonkat ali when you're eating 30 grams of protein a day. And I'm trying to say that in the nicest way possible. So that's my take on supplements and the things that I think you should be focusing on. And if you want me to answer any questions about supplements or review the ones that you're currently taking, feel free to put it into the comments below and I'll get back to you. And if you did like this video and you want to see more fitness and fat loss and health-based content just like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well.